Welcome back, everybody, to some more Grand Tactician, the Civil War. We're going to pick up where we left off in the last episode. And very, very briefly, I just want to show real quick all of the created patron units, just so you know where you are. I'm not going to take a lot of time with these, but you've seen them all before. Mountain Department right now has 3rd North Carolina Mounted Infantry and Suites, West Virginia 1st. Let's go ahead and work our way down. Army of the Southwest, 24th Missouri. All of these are, you can see the ETA because they've just been recruited. 1st Guardsmen and the Oregon Volunteers, which are actually under Colonel William Tecumseh Sherman right now. So, Army of the Ohio is going to include Nelson's Redcoats and Bravo Battery, 218th Field Artillery, the Celtic Klansmen, Mills Brigade, and the 95th Rifles. On now to the Army of the Potomac. We're still putting that together, but we've got the 34th Pennsylvania right there. The 9th Indiana Hazen's Brigade. We've got the VMI Cadets, the Guards Brigade. Roaring Beaver Tails, 24th Michigan. Excelsior Rifles. And I don't know why that one's being called the Battle of Winchester. It's saying that. It's probably just because of where it is on the map. 1st Montero Rifles, the Monmouth Volunteers. Last but not least, I think this is last, over in the Department of Pennsylvania, the Carolinian Guard. They're actually the only one of those units that's not going to be gone in the next couple of months, so we'll eventually transfer them probably to the Army of the Potomac. I believe that's everybody. If you did not see your unit and you are one of the patrons at captain level or above, please reach out to me. It's possible one of them could have slipped through the cracks. I've had folks post on message boards, send me private messages on both Patreon and through email, so it's possible I might have missed yours on one of my lists. If I did, please reach out to me and remind me what that is so I make sure I get it in there for the next episode. Let's dive into the action. All right, my Army of the Ohio under Don Carlos Buell has arrived in Cairo, Illinois, and we're going to go ahead and construct a supply depot here because I don't know that we have any natural flow of supplies happening, and can't hurt to have one there because that's going to become one of our base of operations moving forward. This is going to help us to be a launching off point into western Kentucky, western Tennessee, and eventually down the Mississippi toward Vicksburg, which is our ultimate goal in the west. Right now, Buell's army has 6,000 of the 12,000 men that I've assigned to it. Obviously, there are more arriving all the time. So the next thing I want to do is I want to build a Mississippi squadron, a fleet that's going to allow us to work along the Mississippi River. So we're going to build that in Cairo. And you can see here that a lot of these ships still at 35%. That's intentional on the part of the developers because the U.S. Navy at the beginning of the American Civil War was in a state of disrepair. A lot of the ships really weren't seaworthy. And they have been slowly working back up to strength. You can actually see now that my home squadron, oops, didn't mean to do that. My home squadron actually is now all at 100%. Whereas they weren't even just a few weeks earlier. So the other ships will slowly make their way up to 100% as well. So I can't expect that any new squadron that I build with new ships is going to have any kind of ability to compete for at least a little while. So I'm looking to see what I actually want here. I think I want some kind of gunboats. Now, some of these gunboats are not available to me yet, and that's about policies. I think there's certain policies that I need, particularly diplomacy policies that I need in order to be able to get some of those new abilities, new ships. So I guess let's just go with a traditional gunboat for now. We'll build a few of those, and then eventually we'll add some more. And all of these take money, take resources that it'll take some time to acquire. So we'll build our first two. Once those get to 100%, then we'll worry about building more. Okay, we've got ourselves a battle between the Department of Pennsylvania and the Army of the Shenandoah. Once again, we're going to be fighting in Winchester. That's where a lot of the early action is. It's going to be the Battle of the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, April 2nd, 1861. Here we go. All right, so once again, we're fighting on the Antietam battlefield. We have about 10,000 men up against nearly 8,000 Confederates. And as I mentioned before, just for anybody who might be new, the developers, since this game is in early access, have an early access roadmap. They show step by step what the major updates that are going to be added to this game. between early access and full release. And the very first thing on that roadmap after early access, in addition to the patches, and there have been several in the last week or so, is a map pack. And then later on there's going to be another map pack, and that's going to add additional historic battlefields as well as random battlefields. So we're not going to be constantly fighting on Antietam, Winchester, for example, when we're fighting in the northern part of, or the eastern West Virginia, central Maryland, things like that. But for now, that's what we're doing. This should be interesting. So I moved forward to cross the bridge over here because there initially had been a Confederate. There was a star that was red, which helps kind of figure out where they've been. And I took it thinking, okay, the Confederates are going to be over here, but they weren't. It appears they're over this way near Nicodemus Hill. So now we've got to get ourselves turned around. Our poor men are going to be probably exhausted. This is why I've got to add cavalry to my unit so I can scout and I can screen and I can find these guys. Now I've gotten myself in a difficult situation because I went the wrong way and I'm getting all of my men into position only to have to turn them around again. Okay, so I've deployed skirmishers, seeing if I could find where he was, and I have found some of his artillery over here near Nicodemus Hill. One of the nice things about skirmishers is they obey orders instantly. You don't have to wait for orders to be passed down to them through the chain of command. You'll see this. I have it paused right now, but watch as soon as I unpause after giving these orders. The skirmishers move right away. There's no delay on the orders for them, so that's a nice feature. Okay, so we're getting double days guns into action. We're going to start advancing. There's this hill right here in the middle, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to come at him from either side. I don't know if that's his entire force or not. Let's take a look. There's two big units of cavalry, another smaller unit of cavalry, and then a brigade under, is that under Stonewall Jackson? Let's take a look real quick at the reports. So we have Stewart's cavalry, Walker's brigade, Lawton's brigade, Jackson's brigade. So there's 3 units of cavalry, 1 of infantry, and artillery. So that is his entire force right there. So the good news is I think we can envelop him. He's in a strong defensive position. So we're going to need to be smart about how we come at him. And I think we'll do it from each flank. Kime on one side, Cadwallader on the other. And this will be the first time in action for some of these units, especially Leisure's Brigade, which is the Carolinian Guard. They're going to be the first of our patron units to get to taste some action. At least in this version of the campaign. We'll keep Doubleday's guns right there. And our skirmishers should be moving with everybody. Well, not the 2 that I moved independently. All right, now he sees me doing this. Oh, why is the Carolinian Guard taking that road to go at him? They're going to get nailed for doing that. All right, we're going to just tell them to stop right there. Let's give them a hold order. All right, so the Carolinian Guard is engaging with skirmishers, and I actually didn't give them the... I actually tried to reattach the skirmishers, but he went ahead and sent them out, and that's fine if that's what he feels is best in this situation. I'll let the brigade commander make that decision for himself. Now, they are taking some losses. This is their first combat situation. Now, we've got him right up against the Potomac River now, and he's got his line anchored but kind of floating out there. And this is mostly a artillery unit. I mean, not artillery, a cavalry unit. So I'm reattaching my skirmishers over here. So let's go ahead and move Kime's division up now. See if I can get him to... No, oh, that's the attachment, that's why. Alright, bring in your skirmishers. We're going to try to get the main units up on the line here. Let's get George Thomas's brigade up here to anchor their right. You can see they're much smaller, less than half the size of Leisure, actually about 1/3 the size. And we'll get Williams's brigade, same deal on this side. But we've got this guy. He just doesn't have enough men. And he's actually... Oh, did he build breastworks? He did. Oh, no, those are Those are dismounted cavalry. Here, I thought that these were the men behind breastworks. They were just dismounted cavalry. All right, Carolinian Guard in combat for the first time, doing well so far. And you can see he changed his order again. He had medium range order, and he changed it to long. And I'm fine with that kind of initiative being taken by the commander. That's what you want to see him do, is adjust for those situations rather than kind of making major deployment decisions on his own. But now we spring the trap on the other side. Alright, let's go ahead and tell Thomas to open up at range. Our guns should still be firing on him from up here in the woods, but I'd like to get them a little closer if I can. Let's go ahead and move them up. Get a better look. Alright, and here comes Kimes' division. They're going to start moving in on his other flank, and hopefully this will make his line collapse. Does he still got men in these woods? He must. Yep, he does. Can't really see them. They're in good protection there. We're just in range on that side. Let's look at the numbers now. Alright, so you got to take 500 basically away on this side, and otherwise we're doing pretty good. I'd say it's fairly even for the most part. I actually I like playing the smaller battles like this, because then I get to actually go in and watch it at this range. When we get into a major battle where we've got 50, 60,000 men on each side, I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm going to be having to look at the big map the whole time, which is fine. And as an army commander, that's what I should be doing. But as a lover of video games, I like watching it at this level. And especially since I'm making video content for you guys, I kind of find myself feeling like that's what I'd rather see too. But I understand that later in the war that just won't be possible. Alright, Thomas's brigade doing alright. Thomas, he's a Virginian who stayed loyal to the Union. Ended up commanding an army later in the war. He was known as the Rock of Chickamauga for the way he stood strong when much of Rosecrans' army at Chickamauga did not. And then he was rewarded by being given command of that army after the Battle of Chickamauga. And performed very well, I think, in that role till the end of the war. I know Grant trusted him and thought he was a good commander. Solid guy, one of the better Union commanders of the war. Alright, let's get Alpheus Williams up here a little further. Williams ended up a corps commander. And who do we have here? Daniel Leisure. I'm not familiar with him. He's a lower ranking officer. And on this side we have Charles Stone, who commanded one of the first Corps brigades at Gettysburg. And I'm not familiar with Wynkoop or James Negley. Looks like we've still got some skirmishers we need to reattach. Alright, there's no way he's going to be able to keep up defense here for long, but the interesting thing is he doesn't have a lot of room to escape. So we'll just keep up the fire as long as we can. We've got Patterson's artillery under Abner Doubleday back here. These are only 6-pounder guns. We've got to get that upgraded. We can't be going around with our only artillery being 6-pounders. Alright, Carolinian Guard has their first upgrade available. I really like with these larger units getting the deadly volley. And then these perks themselves actually upgrade with more experience. Right now it's Deadly Volley 1. And someone corrected me yesterday to let me know that it's not when you get 3 perks that you become an elite unit. It's when you get one of your perks to level 3. If you saw yesterday's episode, you saw that Grant's army in that one got elite status. And then you get your own special battle flag that you get to use in the field when you have that elite status. So Carolinian Guard, first step toward elite status for themselves. So pretty good so far. And a brigade of 3,000 men who's gotten off 15 rounds now has only lost 75 men. I can't believe these Confederates over here haven't done something, because they're just getting nailed in their flanks. Let's go ahead and bring Negley up behind him a little bit. All right, now it's a pretty one-sided affair in terms of the killed. I don't imagine he's going to last forever like this. Let's go ahead and speed things along. But if he holds as long as he has, eventually we're going to have an issue with he's lost 837 men. There we go. He withdrew. All right, that's not a real big surprise. We lost 600 men. He lost 1,500. Pretty satisfied with that. Let's send Joe Johnston packing. All right, so let's look at the Department of Pennsylvania. Actually, Doubleday's artillery is a unit that's about to leave because of expiration of service anyway, so we're going to go ahead and just do that for them. And then what I'm going to do is George Thomas, we've actually just promoted to division command, and we're going to go ahead and create a division under him with some artillery units that aren't going anywhere. So let's go ahead and get a Vermont unit. Actually, this is the Department of Pennsylvania. Let's try to get as much from Pennsylvania as we can. Let's go ahead and add a new artillery unit to them that's going to last for 36 months. And that's going to have 12-pounder Napoleons, and that's going to be back under the command of Doubleday. We'll go ahead and actually add a second one under that department, because they're going to be holding Harper's Ferry, and we want to have some decent weapons there. Let's give them some 10-pounder Parrots, so we have actually, you know what, even better yet would be the 3-inch ordnance. So we'll go ahead and give them those units. That'll give us some smooth bores, but also some nice distance firing capabilities. All right, we've got Stone and the Carolinian Guard. That's kind of the extent of our Department of Pennsylvania right now. All right, our mountain department's almost 5,000 strong under Israel Richardson. So we're going to go ahead and advance toward Grafton. That's going to be one of our, actually, we should take Wheeling first. Wheeling, Grafton, and Charleston are the objectives if you want to get West Virginia to secede from Virginia. Interestingly, a good bit of West Virginia was actually pro-Confederacy, especially in this mountain region, which is where Stonewall Jackson was from. It was really only the westernmost, the parts that were up close to Pennsylvania and Ohio, that were pro-Union. But it was enough sentiment that they were able to get those counties. But if you look at the vote for secession, a lot of these counties did vote for secession. All right, the Army of the Shenandoah is trying to do an end run around me. I don't know if he's going west to help Young's Corps, or if he was actually thinking about going into Pennsylvania, but we're going to have to go ahead and pursue him with the Department of Pennsylvania while we go ahead and start thinking about a move south with the Army of the Potomac. Let's go ahead and at least get them down as far as Fredericksburg. You can see here the Confederate Army of the Potomac only has 1,900 men. The Army of the Northwest, 1,700 men. Price's Army, 1,200 men. So there's really only about, I don't know, 5,000 to 6,000 men down here. Meanwhile, out west, we're going to go ahead and start moving the Army of the Ohio. It's only 12,000 men under Buell, but we're going to go ahead and start moving them into western Tennessee toward Dyersburg. We'll see if we can draw out any forces over here. It looks like he's got some naval forces, but I don't see a military yet. an army force of any kind. Same here with the Army of the Southwest, 8,700 strong. Let's go ahead and start moving them toward his western army. I don't know if we have any kind of an estimate on how large they are. Looks like about 2,000 men. All right, so, what squadron's fighting in the Mississippi? Oh boy, my squadron that I was forming that doesn't have any available actual ships because we're actually building them just got nailed by the New Orleans squadron. All right, so here's what we're going to have to do. He sent his New Orleans squadron all the way up there. We're going to probably, I don't know if we can get, the only squadron we have down here is the Gulf Blockading Squadron. I don't think that squadron can go up the river. In fact, I don't even know where that squadron is. I just know we have one. Okay, it's down here in the Keys. And it's only 5 ships, 74 guns. But let's go ahead and send it over here on a blockading order outside the Mississippi Delta. I'm doing the same with my Atlantic blockading squadron. I'm going to go ahead and start sending them down. My home squadron's right here on a blockading order. So we're starting to get in position. Okay, you can see a couple of Confederate squadrons down here. So I think that might be the place that we want to go with this Atlantic blockading squadron. Let's take a look at them for a second. 9 ships, 164 guns. Looks like they're in pretty good shape and ready to go. So we're gonna park them right over here, I think. Okay, we're gonna have a small skirmish between the Mountain Department and the Army of the Shenandoah. This should be interesting. I want to look at the numbers before I decide what I'm doing here. And all you need to do is kind of hover over one of these. 4,800 men in the Mountain Department. Battle of Grafton. 4,800 men for me, only 1,800 for him. So I think we might go ahead and auto-resolve this one because we might spend half the battle just trying to find where he is. Now, glorious victory at Grafton. Battle of Grafton fought today between 4,800 troops and 5 guns from the Confederate Army of the Shenandoah with 1,900 troops. It went for 7 hours and ended up with 5,000 casualties. There were only 7,000 men in the battle. Wow. General Richardson's Yankees won a victory, whipping the rebels. Hey, it actually says whipping the rebels now, so that's good. The enemy basic. How did he lose 5,000 men if he only had 1,900 to start? That's a little strange. So let's take a look at what that means here. I want to pause for a second. What's the Army of the Shenandoah got left in it after all of that? We may not even be able to see them. So we basically didn't lose anybody. In the Mountain Department, by the way, if we're looking at that, that is Sweets, West Virginia 1st, along with the 3rd North Carolina Mounted Infantry, and apparently they didn't lose any men in that battle. We are also sending... no, I guess that's it. We just formed a division, and they haven't formed it yet. British declare neutrality. Royal Navy to avoid American ports. Any blockade to be monitored by Admiral Milne. The Admiralty to reinforce Milne. 4,300 regular British troops in Canada. So it's not a big deal. Basically, they're kind of reaffirming they're not really planning on getting involved. British intervention's at 41%. I don't expect to see it go any higher than that anytime soon. We're getting our Atlantic blockading squadron into position. Also, our Gulf blockading squadron is almost to where they need to be. Let's take a look and see what else is happening. We still have that Confederate force right there. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do about it at the moment, but I've got Wheeler Squadron has moved up, it looks like, to St. Louis. Wow, hopefully we can get them formed. We haven't yet because we got too many other ships we're working on. I'm a little concerned about Buell's supply issue with that naval force being in Cairo, but it looks like they're okay at the moment. We might need to build a supply depot down here just to be safe. Let's go ahead and build one. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to figure out a good spot to do it that's going to be right along the road. All right, so what we're doing now is we're sending our Atlantic blockading squadron over here to engage the Savannah squadron. I figured rather than just sit there and wait to try and intercept blockade runners, I thought I'd be a little bit proactive and actually try to take on some of these Confederate fleets. He's got a decent amount of tonnage overall, but it seems like at least where I'm able to find his fleets, I'm able to overpower them because he's got many fleets and just a few ships in each one, so I can kind of piecemeal maybe take him on that way. We'll see what happens when I get close enough. We're going to need to get him inside this darker blue circle here to actually engage. We're coming up on May 24th right now. All right, as soon as we engaged, it looks like they dropped out. So engagement was a remarkable strategic victory. Looks like we just basically caused him to retreat. It just says federal victory, that's all it tells us. That seems simple enough. We still hold Fort Sumter, by the way. He never did attack it because I called for troops before he even got that far. We're going to go ahead down the coast here now, see if we can engage some squadrons in their harbors. All right, well, we managed to form West Virginia nice and early in the war. It's only June of 1861, but we were able to send the Mountain Department down to take Charleston. We now hold Wheeling, Grafton, and Charleston, which are the three key components for holding West Virginia. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there early. I know this is a very short episode, and there wasn't a lot of combat in this one, but we have a live stream today, as well as another video to get up with Ultimate Admiral Dreadnought, so I want to make sure I have time to squeeze all of those in. We will come back with a longer episode for you tomorrow. Drop a like, leave a comment if you would, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for watching.